What are you feeling? What's in your heart? Edna?
Give me a
What
fast
is
song.
in
Give
your
me a chikondini extra.
Ah.
Put everything on the line.
So anytime. I don't know what love looks like where you come from, but we don't always have to fight when I get home. You never left my eyes when I beheld you. Never go believe those lies that I don't love you. Yeah.
People, welcome to ZMB Talks. This is a special edition because it is a Christmas edition. And guess what? We already seen the 100K subscribers. This is because of the love and the support. You know what time it is? It's hashtag elevating the industry. Well, guess what? It's a season of love, right? Mm-hmm. And our guest today is the one and only Abel Chungu. That intro. I wish I did better than that. How was it though?
It was dope.
I could have done better.
You're dope. Yeah, so it's good. I love it.
Welcome to ZMB Talks finally.
Yeah, I know, right?
You've blessed us with this Christmas edition.
I know, right? Look at this. It's like it just looks like it's ready for the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully people feel good after
They
this.
will, most definitely. The same way we feel good when you perform at weddings.
Yeah.
This will be the same.
Nah. Hopefully I'll sing at yours.
Hey! 2023. We're coming.
Yeah, believe it is time.
10 years in the industry.
Yeah.
Do you remember when I first met you?
Where did we first meet?
Ngoma.
Yeah?
Yeah, when you won Comedian of this is
And you interviewed me?
No, I didn't interview you. Did I?
I don't know.
Yes, I think I did.
Yeah.
I was looking for some TV station at that time.
Yes.
And I said, you know what, Abel? I'm the next big thing in this entertainment industry. He said, you're already there. Look at us now. Look at us now. Do you watch the show?
Speak it, believe it. I've seen a few interviews.
Which ones have you seen?
Chile's. I also saw you do Chandana K.
Mm-hmm.
And that made me laugh. Because I was like, what? So it was, those are the ones. And a few others, I think.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So like I mentioned earlier on, you're celebrating 10 years in the industry, music industry. But I just want to start from where it all began.
Yeah. And
I feel I'm taking a different direction with these interviews now because I want to be in tune with people's childhoods. Mm-hmm. You know, the invalidation that you went through, you know, the childhood traumas that you've been through.
Yeah.
Out there, let me start with childhood traumas that you've been through. For me, for instance, I'll start with me. It was the fact that I was really small. So because of that, I was being labeled as this small kid that couldn't do anything, small but big voice. So that kind of like limited me from doing certain things. Yeah. Because everybody said I was small, so I'm like, I'm small, I can't do anything. Mm-hmm. So did you go through any childhood traumas?
You're like, but from the, let me tell you, like you're dynamite. You know what I'm saying? So I mean I can honestly say there's maybe when I was younger, you know what I'm saying? Because when you're starting musically, there's always people who, you know, when you're trying to express yourself in school and you do something different, when I'm out, I'm just going, and then one of the things is we had moved in from, my dad had served in New York, so we moved back to Zambia. I remember the first time I'm in school, one of the guys, we became friends later on, and they're just like, oh, wait. So the girls say they don't like the way you talk. You need to change the way you talk.
What school was that?
So school got down. And then they told me, like, literally told me that the girls don't like your accent. And I believe them. Yeah. So I'll try to find a way to talk the way I talk at home. And then I'll try to find a way I talk when I was around people. And, you know, there's just always people, like, every person would, like, you know, use jokes on you.
Yeah.
So what I started to learn was ways to learn their joking style and then use it back on them.
Ah.
So it was one of those things as you begin to grow and learn, and I think even just with my family, because they're very confident type of people. So they were always like, don't ever let anybody put you down. Don't ever let anybody put you down. Like I was sharing one story one time with somebody, like why, even for me, like even when I was hanging around with my friends, and most of my friends would start like drinking alcohol, taking, marijuana or different things like that. My older brother said, if I ever get you drinking, then I know you've decided to be a follower instead of a leader. And I'm just like, hey, what? Then I realized that every time we go chilling with these guys, like everyone's like, just drink, just drink. So then I learned like a lot of the peer pressure or the ridicule was, if I succumbed to it, then I was now submitting my mind to be like just like a follower in the group. I didn't have my own, I needed to be responsible for my own stuff, I needed to have my own. So I'd say, no. If I had an opinion, I'd say no, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't just because somebody, especially when you're a teenager, you want to move with what's popular. You want to, if someone says, this song is nice, like my brother was very brutal, even on me. He would be like, I'd sing in front of people, and people were like, oh, that was nice, that was nice. It's like, you went off key in the second verse. And even though I heard it, I would want the comments that said it's nice. But then I began to also appreciate real comments. And I think that's what helped me improve musically. Because I always like, okay, was it good? If it wasn't good, do it again. And if you can do it better, keep trying harder. Rather than just getting pats on the back or people just saying. So I can say like there was a lot of negativity, but over the years I tried to learn to try to turn it and find ways to master myself in that sense.
Why did you move from New York to Zambia?
Well, my dad had served as ambassador to the United Nations, and then his term had ended at the time. So we moved back to Zambia. Of course, things weren't always easy. You know what I'm saying? Of course, the government didn't release his money. Political enemies, whatnot. I mean, he's a person of high integrity in different things, and sometimes at that time, a lot of things were compromised. So we went through a very, very hard time. You know what I'm saying? Try to bailiffs, try to take stuff and different things. So you saw like a time when you were like, oh, everything is well. Then you also went through a time when things are bad. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciated that because you learn to realize that sometimes certain circumstances are not in your control. And you learn to appreciate what everybody's going through. People are going through stuff. You know what I'm saying? Even now, like that's why I think I'm so involved in humanitarian work, because I realize people go through things. And sometimes they're ashamed to say it, or the circumstances just didn't work out the same way. So now that's why I try to encourage people. We'll just try to help people like, okay, how can we be better ourselves?
Nice. I love that because your music also helps and encourages a lot of people. And which is leading me to my next question. What did your parents' relationship leave you with?
Man, there are things that in the song Pamakufi, I always tell people like, the song it's bittersweet because at the same time, every night I'd hear my parents pray. Like every night I'd hear my parents pray. They'd wake up at 3, they'll be praying for us, right? Every Sunday we had like family prayer. Right? And some of the things I remember my dad praying about my life. One of the sad things that he never got to see these things.
Oh, that's
like he died in 2009. I released my first album in 2012. I remember at that time, he's now the PS2 Youth Sport and Arts buddy when he was pastoring his church, Pastor Kango Church. That was the last time my dad ever saw me sing live. And I remember I invited him to the church. Pastor Kango invited me, and I was singing. And my dad came, and he saw, and after that, the PS was like, oh no, we're Ambassador Tema Musuka, maybe you can say something. My dad got on the microphone. And it was kind of like, it was quite sad because it was almost like if I had known, you know what I'm saying, if I had known, it was about maybe like a month or 2 before he passed, but he grabbed the mic and he said, I've been waiting for this day. It's beautiful to see my son do what he always loved to do. I'm waiting to see him like this. I can see, that he's going to be great. And then about a month later, then he passed.
What else did you say in your song Pamakufi that reminds you?
And you so also just, the thing is like sometimes we're not where we are because of our hard work. It's because of people who prayed for us.
Right.
People who were there before us. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know what your great grandmother had to go through. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What she wanted. I mean, a lot of these people were under colonialism, slavery, different things. As Black people, we have to come to understand that we've come a long way. That is one reason why we have to stay united. Like, we have no, like, when you're watching social media and you see people attacking, insulting each other, I'm like, guys, you know where we're coming from. Like, you know how far we've come. Like, when we got our independence, we didn't have enough graduates. We didn't have enough teachers, universities, schools, what. And people are acting like all of this stuff is entitled, just like, I'm like, guys, like, we're only a few maybe even 2 generations away from being under colonialism. But here we are today. So to actually to see some of these things happen, you don't know who got on their knees and said, I want my family to be successful, my great-grandchildren to be successful. The word of God says, like, God will educate your children and your children's children. So it's a generational thing sometimes, like, where you've got this bank job where you're doing well, but you don't know, like, it wasn't, yes, you put in the work, but like, there are people who really have prayed for you to be there.
Right, that's absolutely true. Tell me about your life in secondary, high school, because I feel like you're that guy that everybody wanted to befriend, talent shows, everything.
No. I was not. Let me
That's hard to believe.
It was wow.
That's hard to believe.
It was wow. My life in high school I was not cool.
Where did you go? Which school did you attend?
I went to the school called Taonga Trust.
Okay.
Yeah. And I honestly say, like, I enjoyed my time there. I actually went there online because my dad wanted me to go to Monali because he had gone to Monali. And then I heard there was bullying at Monali. Only to find bullying where I didn't go to Monali because I was avoiding bullying, only to find bullying. But eventually me and the guys who bullying, we became good friends.
Yeah.
But high school was not like I wasn't a cool kid.
You're not a cool kid?
No. If I show you my pictures,
sure.
I look like I was a 7-year-old in grade 8. Like, I'm telling you, I showed somebody a picture of me in grade 7 and they said, no, like in grade 8, and then that's like, how old are you? 4. I'm like, wow. Yeah, I looked really, really young. Like, and I was literally the youngest.
But did you perform like talent shows?
I did. I'll never forget the first talent show I won. I think I was in grade 9 or 8. I performed Cisco's Unleash the Dragon.
Unleash the Dragon. Were you also dancing?
Yeah. I was Cisco. My friend was Beanie Siegel. So yeah, so we did Unleash the Dragon and we won my first talent show. So I was like, yeah, that's mine. But
were you a prefect in school?
I was. I think even that one was just because they felt sorry for me. I was sports captain at one time, so that means like you become a senior prefect.
Oh.
Yes.
But did you partake in any sports?
They wouldn't even pick me for football. That's how bad it was. So how I was sports captain is just maybe because I organized everybody together. I made things good. But trust me, I wasn't the fastest. I wasn't even good. I'm telling you, everything was just like, no, it's okay. I was at there.
I thought I was at there. I see why you're still maintaining some of your relations with these sports athletes, people like Cancer. And did you went to Dubai?
I did go to Dubai. I was in Dubai.
You performed.
Yes.
Come on now. Mine's gonna be in Michigan. Just make sure your passports are ready.
Oh, yeah, sure. But you know what's funny? With that said, we've known each other since. The best thing about our relationship is that it started. We became friends like even before like everything. So it was my cousin Upalo said, hey, listen, the Zambia Under 20 is going to Spain for training.
Does that mean you and Superman are related?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So he basically said the Zambia Under 20 is going to Spain. They're going to, would you like to come and give a speech? And it was me and Chef. So we went, And now there's these young guys who are under 20.
Mm.
No one knows who they are.
Mm.
And then now we're giving a speech. And I remember my talk was on just believing in yourself. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what anybody says, believe in yourself. Nothing is impossible, different things like that.
Oh, yeah.
And we took this group photo, and the guys asked, can we have you? And I'm like, yeah, sure, we exchange numbers. And Patson, Enoch, were one of the, like, I think one of the few guys we kept in touch, you know what I'm saying, continuously. And then just to see their careers begin to flourish and grow. We would go to the games when we hosted the 20 AFCON. It was just, and so over the years, it's just been very mutual respect and always keeping in touch. So yeah, it wasn't just like, no, my channel, no. It's actually something, I'm happy that it grew. Even just the other day, we're talking like, wow, I've come a long way and there's so many great things that are happening and gonna happen. I think it's just a beautiful time for Zambians, right?
It is, the Zambia channel for real, yeah? And everybody was taken aback when you shared that short clip of you on Star Stage. People didn't know Abel Chungu was on Star Stage.
Yes.
Yeah?
Booted out in top 60, let's not forget.
Top 60.
Top 60. I didn't even make it top 20, top 60 out.
But why did you keep going? Why did you keep going? Like, I don't know,
Why did I keep going?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember why. Because I was very shattered when I was kicked out. I won't lie, I cried. When I got home, like, yeah, I felt bad. I made good friends with people like there's Viola and Levins, but originally, you know, Theo was the reason why I even entered. Who ended up winning? He was a good friend of mine. And me and a guy called Henry, we tried to convince him to enter, and he said, I'm not going to enter unless you guys go with me. So we went to auditions, all three of us, and the best thing is he ends up winning. So, but why did I keep going? I think for me, music is just something that I love. I wasn't defeated too much. I felt like I can still prove myself. I just knew that I had to take a longer route, you know. And I've always just enjoyed the long walk to success, you know. Because at the end of the day, so many times I tell people, even like when I've gone to singing competitions and asked to speak to the people, I say, you know what? You can become famous singing other people's songs, but eventually when you win this competition, people are going to ask, what can you do for yourself? And what I had to do was, I had to prove people to myself, to people that I can do this myself. I can write these kind of songs. I can actually make it. Yeah.
Let's say, for instance, just I must join a competition. Did you give it away?
Yeah, very much. Yeah, my kids, I've been in studio with my kids before.
Nice.
Yeah, they're very talented kids. I remember Mag 44 was like, man, your kids know how to keep a tune. I'm like, wait till the album drops. Wait till the album drops.
I can't wait for this album. I honestly cannot wait.
I mean, if little Bow Wow can do it. Yeah, so who knows?
Okay, then when did you start to tell your stories on the mic now? When does music start to come to light in your life?
I mean, one of the things I would say, like my first, it started when my brother started taking me to the studios with him. First studio we ever visited was TK's.
How old were you?
I was probably about 12, 13.
Oh.
Yeah, so if I calculate, which means TK must have been like in his late teens, or even just like early 20s. So all of us were really young, you know what I'm saying? But we just were trying to do music, we're loving what we're doing. And going forward, it was joy. We would rap in church, we would sing in church. I thought I was a rapper, you know what I'm saying? Then they started using me for choruses. Then when you realize you're doing better choruses, and then I started writing my own songs when I encountered this guy called Bunty. Because Bunty was, Kiramira was a guy I met at church. And he, till today in my life, he's never released an album, but I've always said he's the best songwriter I've ever met in my life. Because his music would make me have goosebumps. And I said, I want to write music like that. I want people, when I write a song, when I sing it, I want people to feel something. And so when I started writing music now, I wanted to have meaning, I wanted it to have power. Then, of course, when I tried now getting into the industry the first time, mid-2000s, I was quite young. And I'd met Magnus by that time. And we said, let's try to make some music. People began to tell us a different story. You know what I'm saying? Guys who were known, some of them and what, who were in the industry at the time, would tell us like, no, you guys, Zambians don't like people singing English. Zambians don't like. So I would kind of hide my English songs and put them away from church. Church, I was singing in church. People were like, oh, that's a great church. You should record that song. I'm like, but in my head, I'm like, Zambians don't like it.
Let me take you back a little bit.
Yeah.
When did you start songwriting? You say
Songwriting,
was at
I would
12?
say songwriting would probably start when I was about 14.
Okay.
Yeah, because my brother then would write for me. Then I started challenging myself to write for myself. So he would write a flow for me because we were like, okay, we're gonna rap somewhere. Study this.
Yeah.
And then I started learning the patterns, the delivery, how to do it. Then I'll start now writing for myself. So I've learned from listening and watching and seeing like, okay, how is a word said that made sense, or how, and then some words, if certain things I would write, you'd be like, no, go on and write that, because that you know, you overuse that word, or that's a cheap word to use, so use something deeper. And I'll go and rewrite it. So when I was about 14, 15, that's when I really started taking writing seriously.
Nice. And let's talk about the rise now. When did you start to feel like, okay, this is what I want to do?
I would probably say, you know, the biggest decision I made was when in 2011, when I said, okay, I was going to do this full time, right? That was when I said, okay, I'm not going to work for either church or ministry or workplace. I'm going to actually, you know, if it fails, it fails.
What changed your mind?
Yeah. Because I realized that what I thought I was going to be able to do, or how thought I was going to approach life, was very different. Everything changed, I think, in that year. And prior to that, before then, when I was doing music, when I went to the States, after the second time when I went to the States for college, when I started realizing all these people that were enjoying my music from different parts of the world. My friends would travel back during holidays and be like, oh man, I went to introduce your song at my church in Brazil. I'm like, oh bro. I'm like, oh, they love your music, Abel, you right? And then somebody's in Asia, and then you realize like there's a whole world out there. You know what I'm saying? And that inferiority complex of feeling like Zambians who don't appreciate my music changed. And so I was more bold when the time came to actually say, you know what, this is the music I'm going to keep.
Yeah.
And when we did, it was an overwhelming response that people actually appreciated.
Yeah.
I remember arguing with somebody one time because they said Zambians don't like, and I said, you know, if you check Zambians playlist, they listen to Celine Dion, they've got all these people. I said, they just didn't think that we could do it for ourselves. And if someone can step out and say, I can write as good as, or I can write just like that, then people will begin to appreciate, and other people will be inspired to keep doing the same thing. Yeah.
It's back and forth, flying in and out of Zambia, America.
Yeah.
Why don't you just stay that?
The Lord did not say I should. I gotta tell you, like it was just never the time. You know, it's just never. You know, I like to have peace about something.
Yeah.
Because something might look attractive and great, but it's just never the right time. I'll tell you, we've been talking about doing a world tour for a long time with the guys, and they heard me in the studio. I'll sit down and talk about.
Who are the guys?
You know, the guys in the studio, whether it's Solomon Plate, Mag 44, my friends, different people, Angel, Sam, and I would always share this thing of, I want to travel the world. I want to be able to share my music. When I went for this last tour, it just felt right. Like I was going to places I only dreamed about visiting. And it didn't feel like Monga, like I guess something different. You don't see what I say, like Nasala, you know what I'm saying? Like somebody's like, I'm in Vegas. You know what I'm saying? It just felt like the perfect time to be in that place.
Yeah.
You're more mature, you have a better understanding, you know what you're given, you know what you're able to do. I remember we had our first show in LA, and I was playing with Sam. I'd taken Sam, my keyboardist, with me. So we're at this event and it's packed out, and no one
knows what, there's just a small table of Zambians, like 2 tables of Zambians. They'd come out to support it, but the room is packed out with people from different countries, and predominantly Nigerian. So, and I'm the only Zambian act. There's all these Nigerian acts, right? And so Sam goes, we're doing sound check, and he's like, man, I won't lie, man. Like, I don't get nervous, but I'm nervous right now. And I'm like, Sam, do you think God would bring us all the way from Zambia so that you should come and embarrass ourselves? I'm like, we are here to do it. Trust me. So, and so many people came up to us and like, you know what? Like, who are you? Where are you from? Like, you were like the main act.
What songs did you perform for them?
Oh man, we did Extra Time. I think I did Mulivakulu as well, because for the Zambian audience. And then I did Extra Time, Ichtemwiko, and they had so much fun because I kept on asking them like, what language do you say I love you? And then the Cameroonians in that, you know what in that? Okay, how do you say it? So it was very interactive, and we had such a good time. And by the time we did Extra Time, the Zambians already up and about, just the support and the love was so good. And it really changed even just the way the rest of our trip was. Got us to the right people like, we saw what you guys did in LA, we want you guys to come out here and let's see what we can do, what we can work. So a lot of the things that began to play out, whether it was recordings or we started shooting a documentary, would just basically stemmed from what we delivered in our first performance.
Nice.
Yeah.
Tell us about the Maverick City Camp.
So the Maverick City Camp was organized by one of the members of Maverick City. There's a guy called Alton Eugene. So I didn't know that Alton Eugene followed me on Facebook. So then one day he DMs me, he's like, dude, there's some guys whose churches you had gone to when you were like, dude, like your songwriting is crazy. I'm like, oh, so we got interactive. Then he's like, I'm like, dude, you guys, what you're doing at Maverick City is amazing. He's like, nah, thanks, you're welcome. Then he's like, we do this songwriting camp every summer. And the worst thing is it's always physical, but then that time, COVID.
COVID happened.
Of all the times. So what would happen is all different writers from around the world would attend this camp online. And then they would put us you'd be paired with 4 or 3 other writers. And then you have to write a song like in 2 hours.
But how do you write a song in 2 hours when you're not together?
So we're all online. So either somebody has a piano, keyboard, and someone who's playing and we'll start, and then we're all pitching in on the words. I will honestly say, sometimes it was tough.
Because it's tough.
It's tough because you have this great idea, and then someone's like, well, I don't think we should go that direction. Like, what? I'm like, oh, I know how to write. You know what I'm saying? You almost sort of flip out because you're just like, no. And you get in, but you have to work with other people. So someone else suggests, someone puts a vibe, and you all agree on a melody that you all love. And the best thing was, every song I was involved in has been selected. So it was actually like, oh, okay, great. You know what I'm saying? And
what does that mean?
So it means that it's been one of the songs that was picked as it could potentially get recorded by Maverick City. So in whatever future releases that they have, those songs are in the pool of songs that they're gonna use. And which means if from whatever sales and whatnot, I get paid from either whether they will allow me to sing or on the song, or somebody else will end up singing the song. But in terms of the publishing, I'll get my share from every one of those songs. So
well, if they've heard you sing, they'll definitely allow you to sing.
I'm telling you, but it's fun. It was really good. So I mean, even the worst thing was they had a concert on one of the nights we had an event in Atlanta. I love the way I almost Mutima and I was like, Lord.
That's a sign.
I really wanted to attend. And they were with Kirk Franklin.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
It was Maverick City and Kirk Franklin.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let me take you back a little bit again to the times when you were recording Until This Land Is Yours.
I can see Edna's not dropping an album anytime soon. No, it's okay.
Until
It's
this
okay.
last.
That's why we are here.
Help
That's
me
why
out,
we're
please.
here. We are the singers. Yes.
I need your help there because that song
Until
really
this
helped me.
land is yours, I'm gonna go.
I'm
Go.
gonna go.
Yeah.
What was really happening to you, like in terms of your life, your space at that time?
When you wrote Go. Guys, I think it was just it was the time of like as Lauderhouse we didn't even know what was happening in that sense. Like it was just like we just said, okay, you know what, we're just a couple of guys who all of us as artists, we had a different background, right? So we're all solo artists, but then we'd come together and we'd say, okay, we've got this great idea.
Yes.
The first person who said, I've got this great idea was Mag44. I won't lie. Magnus was like, guys, people love football. Zambia's playing AFCON. Let's do a song together. You know, we can like music can reach out to people. You never know. And I'm just like, God. So that's how I did Chipolo Polo. And then when we did Go, it was just, I think, it was just basically like a declaration. We wanted a song that just basically says like, we're praying for this, kind of like God's gonna change this country. It was a very powerful year, and that's when the Go was that song, and it had such a huge impact.
How many years down the line were you in the industry?
I had been in the industry probably. Well, the thing is, I think prior to releasing my project my first album in 2012, I'd been in there for a while, because remember, I almost released my first project like in 2007. With I'd recorded with Taz and Mag44, and but then all of a sudden that's how I moved to Oklahoma. Then when I came back, we started recording again with Magnus. And so by the time now we're in 2012, but from the release, it probably about a year. Okay. Yeah.
How did you manage to make music your business?
Oh, so here's the thing. Like I would say, like the first thing is God. I honestly say the Lord. The Lord is good, because whether you are dependent upon Jan, the first thing is, I always say, like a good musician, and this is like I think it's a good time for any young artist. So the first thing that you need to understand is, like I always say the statement: a good musician makes music people want to hear. A great musician makes music people need to hear. What I should identify as an artist is, what do people need to hear? Because again, people will pay for what they connect with, right? With their heart. And they'll say, okay, you know what? There's many artists I know who are popular, but people will never pay. Like actually put money and say, you know what, this is worth paying for. Never. And the thing is, that's a conversation that artist needs to be able to have. That my popularity, why does it not translate into income at some point? Now, of course, many times when the discussion as a Christian artist comes up, people will say, but why are you charging what? Because I know my music is expensive to make. It is expensive. When we get into the studio, when you have to call for it, people are like, oh, I like your music because it's live. Yeah, that was a real person who had to play that guitar. That was a real guy who had to come and play the bass. Someone had to pay for his transport. That was a real keyboardist who had to be on it. So everybody has to get something out of it by the time it's done. So to make the music that we make, we've already given our hearts to be able to make it. So no one can come and tell me, oh no, you're doing it for money. I'm like, you can flop. Tomorrow you can say what? Then all that time I spent working on it goes. So when you write that music, right? The question is, now you have to study the industry. You have to be like, okay, how am I going to release it? Am I going to release it online? Am I going to have physical copies? It's really a non-investment. You also have to do a market. Understand, like when we were doing songs, by the time we released an album, I'd played guitar just for crowds, when you start to realize people really appreciate this music, then you say, okay, my album is now ready. People are like, oh man, there's the anticipation, right? So usually sometimes people say your marketing strategy. That was our natural marketing strategy. It was like, okay, people are liking this music. People actually resonate. People want to hear a song like this, you know? So, which is why even years later, I can say I release a single a year, but I know that that single is meaningful. So I'll say, okay, this year, people are like, you haven't dropped a song. I'm like, no, I know when the time comes, I drop a song like Mamuna Samarida. You know what I'm saying?
Was that this year though?
No, it was like last year, the year before actually. So then before that, you know, I released Extra Time. Then this year I released Imperfect. So you begin to realize that people begin to see like, oh, there's quality in what he's doing. I'm trying to release more frequent music in 2023 because we've got now like a huge catalog of music that has now been waiting for release, and we've got some great stuff. But now that you've entered an industry, now you also have to look at the live aspect. I always tell people like, man, if you knew what it's like doing live music, especially I've seen a lot of popular young artists, if they started like studying live music and live performances, it's a game changer. You know what I'm saying? Look at what it did for Chef. But when Chef jumped on stage, Day of Thunder, live, and he had, you know, the band with him, changed his everything. You know what I'm saying? And there are people who also like hearing you live. Then would realize, okay, they respect now your music in a whole different way. So those are basically the things that I just generally feel will help. And at the end of the day, also have a group of people that really can to give you honest feedback. I think there's too many people who are around people that hit, but then it doesn't work out. You know what I'm saying? And then they start like, no, Zambia music industry is hating on me, whatnot. No, there's also should always be an assessment of, okay, why did it not work out? Why did it not? How did this not work? You know what I'm saying? Prior to this new album that I want to release, I've had 2 listening sessions and a few others with people. It doesn't matter who someone is. I've had Magnus's nephew, 16-year-old boy, show up and I'll say, hey, what do you think about this song? Because I realize the ears of people are everywhere. So I invited Sky Girls to come and listen.
Nice.
It was a tear session. I'm telling you, I had so much fun. It was very encouraging, but because I mean, those ladies were in tears by the time I finished playing the project. But it's not that every song was sad. It was just like they really connected with the music. Then the second session I had was Great North Academy, the rehab center. And I played it for the guys who are in the rehab center there and the girls. And we got to discuss the music. They would tell me which song really hit hard for them, what song they loved. And so with all that feedback, you kind of know like, okay, this is the song that's really going to work. This is the song, because you're working with different people, different backgrounds and walks of life. And what means a lot, especially when I love it when somebody says, I was in this situation and your music played a part in my life. Because I tell people like, if you can make unforgettable music, people will use that music in unforgettable moments. So when you said, you said, I love it, Abel, when you sing at weddings. Because I always tell people like, are you a wedding singer? I'm like, no, people invite me to weddings because those are unforgettable moments. Imagine that one day in your life you've prayed for, right? You've found the love of your life. This is the person that you want to spend the rest of your life. That happiest moment, and then you say, I want Abel to be there. Yo, that's like an honor. You know what I'm like? Thank you. I'm like, I actually appreciate that.
You actually played at my cousin's wedding.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
Eva and Elisha.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah. So most of the times when, let's take for instance, your music is playing, then we bring up All of Me. A lot of people ask questions like, is Abel Chungu a gospel artist? And the fact that I don't love to box people. So I want to hear it from the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
Are you a gospel artist?
I am. And, but one of the things that I think I tell people is I love writing biblical music, right? So in line with the word. Because I think a lot of times when people have asked questions, it didn't even start coming from Take All of Me. It started from the first time I sang at Oktoberfest
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I hear gospel. I'm like, but guys, if you look at the set list of songs, these are the same songs you want me to sing in church. I'm going to sing them at Oktoberfest. Somehow they want me to sing these songs.
What?
You know?
This is crazy that I'm sitting down with you right now because the first DOT when Casper came,
Yes.
you led us into worship.
I did.
And I was in the back.
Prayer.
Yes.
We did a singer's prayer with 10,000 people.
I remember standing on like a bench.
crazy.
I'm like, yes. Look at us here now. Okay, yes, listen.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was that I'm just like, you are the same artist where you go. I'm like, why is it that you guys have an issue with me when I'm going to sing at these places? My heart is just, I'm not saying that I'm the best gospel artist or I'm the best. All I just have is God is amazing. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants to say that. Everybody can say that. God is good. Can you say yes, amen? You know what I'm saying? Tell people about how good God is. And so when we did that, then I mean it just became worse when I did extra time, because now it was just like, we knew it. But I'm like, guys, like if you read Songs of Solomon, this guy is talking about curves, the shape of it, and that's in the Bible, right? So the question is like, so when you now write a love song, when did love songs become secular songs, right? But meanwhile, everybody's encouraged that if they're in love and they want to be together, they must go through marriage. So basically, we recognize that people can be romantically in love, but we don't recognize music, right? We recognize that two people, when they love, they can do it under God's rule. But then we don't want music that kind of associates or insinuates that people fell in love or different things. So I've never understood that. It doesn't make sense, right? So I feel like, listen, if the end goal of two people is that somehow they're going to get married and God is going to approve of that, why then can we not write the music that is going to tell the story of that? You know what I'm saying? So if I write a song like Extra Time, it's basically just saying like, listen, I'm in for a serious relationship. Are you ready for a serious relationship? And I think that's a question everybody wants to ask, even if you find someone from church or wherever. It's one of those things where it's real conversation. So yeah, so over the years, I've just kind of like, quieted the noise and just decided to understand that if I'm writing music, I'm writing it from my heart. So even with Take All of Me, it was really a strong, I thought about, especially the fan base and a lot of people that listen to Chandanake was basically, I discovered it when I did Isenge with Chef, that there was a lot of people who didn't feel like they were very open that they listened to gospel music, right? Because they always felt like gospel music is for Vakuchech, right? Yes. But in their head, in their hearts, they always wanted to have a relationship with God. So Nudidi sang it with Chef. I remember even just reading some comments like, I can't even listen to this song. I'm sure this song has no sense. But the song was so powerful because Chef was there. And which for me made the point. When we did Isenge, we said, we want people to know that anyone and everyone can come and have a relationship with God. So that's when I really understood that, I need to do some of these collaborations, because there's an audience of people out there who are afraid to come to God because they feel like, bati, or the way I look like, or shanshani. But when we did Take All of Me, I think that was such a huge game changer, because I had friends. I've made so many friends over the years, and even some DJs, and especially the DJs. Like they would be playing. They would like send me videos of like, "Whoa, we're playing your track in this club. I'm in Livingston. I'm in Shani, and this song, people were singing the words." And I say, the word of God doesn't return void. You know what I'm saying? When it goes out, it has power. Life and death is in the power of the tongue, and so when those words, I believe that whoever is singing those words will find the meaning in that. You know what I'm saying? We'll understand the grace of God. We'll understand that God is actually saying, come as you are, you know what I'm saying, with everything that you are, and don't worry, I'll make you clean. So whether they hear it at a place, at a bar, whatnot, those words will come to life. Yeah.
Ish. Yeah. You guys go through the most. A few gospel artists, ish.
It's
because there's a certain way that we want you people to behave.
Yeah.
There's certain places that we want to see you at.
Yeah.
There's certain places where you shouldn't go to.
Yeah.
Because if you're a gospel artist and you go to a place like Chicago, it's like, hey, what is Abel Chungu doing here?
Yeah.
So I've seen that you people have taken the step to collaborate with secular arts. But what more can we do to just break these social standards of how a gospel artist should behave?
I think one of the things is I do understand is that many times people coming, especially people coming to Christ, or people come to church, many of them, some of those things were their weakness.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe alcohol is a weakness. People like telling their testimonies. I used to drink, so I no longer drink. Or I used to what, right? And then you have someone like me who's like, I've never tasted alcohol. So alcohol doesn't like have any, I don't think about it in the same way like it's a weakness. You know what I'm saying? So, and then you have this thing where, again, you have this very strong, I don't know where it came from, but it's a very strong thing that if you drink, you're of the world. You know what I'm saying? So, and I find a lot of Zambians, because they drink alcohol, many have felt like it's almost like a personal decision to decide, like, okay, I'm of the world. I've decided I'm cool. I'm a drinker, so I'm of the world, right? And so they will never usually, if they listen to your music, they'll tell you that it's in their car, right? But they won't want it playing where they are. So, or they'll just feel like it's like when we do street evangelism, many people, and this is the same mindset of people would say things like, I like the message, but no, first let me change. Then I'm like, no, I'm not asking you to go and change. I'm saying allow God to change. Come as you are and allow Christ to change you. Accept him and allow Christ to change you. So the idea many times is that those people that are in church are the ones that have accepted that they are holy. So people, but no one can go into church with the acceptance of, I'm not well, but I'm going to allow God to do the process on me. So I think people are afraid to even confess the fact that they are struggling, but they go to church every Sunday, right? And so, which is why you find that demographic of church, you know what I'm saying? And that's the thing that you have to understand. But when you look at the life of Jesus, right? So if we say as believers we're there because of Jesus has brought us there. In Matthew chapter 9, Jesus goes to Matthew's place and he starts eating there. And it says many tax collectors and sinners came and ate with him. And it says the Pharisees saw this and they got annoyed, and they asked his disciples, why does your master eat with tax collectors and sinners? And Jesus' response, he said he overheard them, and he said, those who are well have no need of a physician, but those who are sick. And he says, go on, learn what this means. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. And that's a powerful statement by Christ. He's basically saying, those same people that you're saying, hey, he says, let them come to me. Me, I'm the doctor. I'll fix them. But let them come. Let them come and let them have that peace to come and sit with me. Let them have that peace to feel like they can come and allow me to do the transformation. And many people are afraid of that because they feel like, no, you're allowing sin. No, we just trust the word of God. We trust that God can be able to change lives and touch our lives. And even for us, that's why we're still there, because it's not that we're singing because we market or what. It's because it's this truth. Like we really know we're that sinner who's at the table. You know what I'm saying? And if I go and tell anybody, I'm like, how was Jesus? I'm like, it was actually really nice, man. It was actually really chill. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's a testimony. That's what testimony is like. It's like, yo, I'm telling you, like, this is the coolest guy you've ever met. Like, he's so cool. I felt so good when for real. Do you think you'll invite me if I come to the dinner table? Yeah, sure. I'll invite you. Let's go together. Right?
Yeah.
But I haven't bathed. I'm smelling of alcohol. No, come. Let's go. If you begin to see the gospel in that sense, then you begin to realize what the confidence that Christ had in his power. To tell even a thief next to him on the cross that, don't worry, you'll be with me. Just because the guy turned to him and says, Jesus, remember me. Now that's a thief, which means whatever crime that guy did, he was guilty. but then to turn to Jesus and say, hey, please remember me. And Jesus say, don't worry.
I got you.
Yeah, I got you. And you know those moments when someone says, I got you. Wait, ningangene utafika pado. Don't worry. And people, then you go in and people are lava. You know, that feeling feels nice. And that's really what it actually is. It's not because that connection that you found. Yeah.
10 years of building this brand. And I'm sure you've learned a lot of things. And there's certain principles attached to Abel Chungu's brand.
Yeah.
Let's take, for instance, an alcohol company wants to endorse you as a brand ambassador.
Yeah. So no. So, and I'll say why, because like I like to do. I think when I do take a brand, I like to use brands that I believe in.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like people know what I like. I like food. I like different things. So even if an alcohol brand, like I remember an alcohol brand did approach me one time where they said, "Can we? We're doing a non-alcoholic line." That's the only time we got into a discussion. But then I thought, anyway. It's not. I don't really wanna get involved, but at the same time, we've done the Day of Thunder. Mosi was sponsored by Mosi. Zambi Brewers has sponsored many events, so I still maintain a good relationship with many of them. But it's just one of those things where I don't drink, so I can't go and tell somebody that drink this brand but I'm like, but I don't drink. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not me, you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's not even something that I'm running away from because I know I'm a Christian, whatnot. I know Christians who drink. I know Christians who drink and are great people, you know what I'm saying? Who know how to control their liquor. Even in biblical times, people drank, you know what I'm saying? So it's not different. It's not that I have a problem with that. It's just as me, I'm like, it's like, nah. Yeah.
How many albums to your name now?
3 and 1 deluxe album. So
this one will be the 4th.
So the one that we're working on is the 4th album.
4th album. Yeah. How are you feeling about it?
Oof, I don't know, eh?
What do you mean?
Nah, you know what? I don't know. Like, it's one of those things where everybody who's heard it, everybody who sits and listens to, many people were just like, this is your greatest work. Like, this is your greatest work. But then again, you're also afraid of something being your greatest work because it's almost like, then what next, right? And you keep, and I'm still recording new stuff at the same time. But at the same time, like, okay, so I get nervous. I'm like, okay, maybe I break the album into 2 because we've recorded so much music. I'm like, okay, maybe let me break the album into 2 because like there's different sounds. And that's the problem is over the years, I've picked up different sounds that you can even hear like this is not his normal sound, and then this is the sound that we're used to and different things. And then the question is now, do you put them on one project or do you separate sounds in terms of how people receive them? And so, that has been even up to now.
You're still thinking about it.
I'm telling you, with Mag 44, Mag was like, dude, just give them the project. I was just like, and just close your eyes. Take it or leave it.
You say almost everybody you've played at least a song or 2 for keeps saying this is like one of your greatest works.
Yes.
I'm here to witness it. Where's the guitar? Where's the piano? Where's what and what? Let's hear that. Let's hear that.
Oh my goodness. So you want to hear something?
Yes.
EDNA.
Then we'll decide.
Yeah, so we've got a really good project, don't lie.
When did you learn how to play this?
I was very young. It's like 13. Wow. But I'm not as good as I should be. I'm very lazy in terms of but I'm a good strummer.
Okay.
So this is, what do you want? A slow song, fast song?
Which one are you playing?
No, it's up to you. I was gonna play a slow song, but otherwise, what are you feeling? What's in your heart?
Give me a fast song. Give me a Chikondini extra. Put everything on the line.
So.
I don't know what love looks like where you come from. but we don't always have to fight when I get home. Beauty never left my eyes when I beheld you. Never go believe those lies that I don't love you. Yeah. This is not a movie. I love you completely. Together we'll put back all your broken pieces. I promise to love you through all of the seasons, through all the ups and the downs. Please believe me. Jennifer, Jennifer, I promise to love you better. Jennifer, Jennifer, I promise it will get better. Jennifer, Jennifer, I promise to love you better. Jennifer, Jennifer, I promise it will get better.
That's not it.
Yeah. I've been bringing out to who's Jennifer? I'm like,
who is Jennifer?
I'm like, the only Jennifer I know is my mother-in-law's name. But it just sounded so cool. Like, we're in the studio, I was like, yo, this is gonna be, this is such a nice melody. So I got a guy called Sammy Master to do it. And then for those people, especially people who love worship, I played one song at Wowfest. And I introduced it for the first time to the public.
Okay.
And it was such a powerful, because I realized like so many times when you're in worship, like you get overwhelmed and you cry. And it's a good cry. It's not like sometimes a cry because like, like I'm just no, but it's just like sometimes we're just like, God, you're so good, kind of crying, you know what I'm saying? So I did this one.
Ifilamba ngafyapula Nibuli Yesu ndilila Kutalo kwa mfumya Ifilamba ngafyapula Nibuli Yesu ndilila Kutalo kwa mfumya Oh, kandile muchikuku chenu, kandile mubusuma wenu, kandile mumawako yenu, kandile muchikuku chenu, kandile mubusuma wenu, kandile mumawako yenu, kandile.
That's a beautiful song.
Thank
Someone
you.
say that. Let me get the guitar right now. So I want to cry to shame the devil.
Yeah,
But it's a beautiful song.
Yeah, thank you.
What are you
thank
calling
you.
this album?
So it's called Kingdom.
Kingdom.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some really great songs, very fast songs, beautiful songs. But also got some really slows. Yeah, there's one which there's one which we laugh about. We always say like, this one when it drops, Lusaka will stand still. People in traffic. There's a song that we. There's a song that I wrote called Siwang. And I am telling you, like, when we recorded it, like, there was a discussion in the studio. It was just like, guys were like, because we wanted to look at, when we're writing, we wanted to look at all aspects, right? Yeah. What does it feel like falling in love or loving someone that doesn't love you back? Or loving someone you cannot be with? Or loving someone that goes away? So we wanted to, like, write the deepest way possible. And the peer pressure, the pressure on me has been to drop that before Valentine's rather than a love song. Because I think there's so many people who have loved someone who they cannot be with.
True.
You know what I'm saying? True. Like whether it's a crush or someone you look back on, and that's the song that I think we that's one of the songs that we have. Siwang. Yeah.
I won't say much. I'll just wait for the album to drop. Kingdom. Okay. So how are we doing this? Like, is it under Nexus?
No, it's not.
What happened?
Here we go. I was waiting for that She said, like, here we go. Yeah.
What happened, Abel? First of all, I was taken aback. I'm like, oh wow, Abel Chungu Nexus.
It's about to be a Kanye.
I know, right? So let's first start with why did you sign to Nexus?
It was a good proposal. It was a good. I liked, first of all, like, one of the things I even told the founder, the owner, I said, I'm with you because I want to be able to understand that there's a black person, a Zambian, who's trying to do something good, and you are trying to form a team. The vision was very good.
Yeah.
When we first sat down and talked, I was telling him every meeting that I had after that, I was telling him, like, I would always use the word precedent. I'm like, listen, the precedent that you set, the first impression that you set, is what I keep bringing back at any point. Like, so I always told him, like, listen, the first meeting that we ever had, I asked all the questions. I said, I want to understand the vision. Where is this going? Why are you signing me? What do you believe in? What? And there was such a high belief from him in terms of, like, in how he expressed himself about my music. You know, we really believe. He was putting money down. It's like, let's listen. And he allowed me to create my own contract. And I enjoyed that. I was like, you know what, feels a bit too good to be true, but still, at least if I create my own contract, I'll know when I want to leave. Like, I'll know, like, okay, you know, and we did, and we drew up our contract and we presented it, and they said, okay, cool, we'll go with it. It was like a dream come true in terms of, like, a deal. And you know, gave us the resources, everything that we wanted to be able to do, and we said we can maximize and turn this into gold. And yeah, that was why I signed.
If it was a dream come true, why then did you fall out?
You know, sometimes you wake up.
Why did you wake up? What caused you to wake up?
Man, like, I feel like I don't like to kick somebody when they're down. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I still pray for. One time even when we're not getting along, you know, we've talked on the phone. Even when we're not getting along, him and I often say, hey, I just wanted to pray for you. It's like, okay, yeah, cool, we'll talk. But I think a lot of things fell apart when it wasn't even about me at first. You know what I'm saying? It was the frustrations of other artists that started to come up. And I started to kind of express that, where I felt like one of the things I'd laid out was, listen, like, each artist, the way artists are, they we kind of, like, we're very personal. You know what I'm saying? Even if you sign 5 artists, you can't just group us all together and just say, oh, you know, everything will work out the same. No, like, each artist wants to feel like there's a plan for me, things are personal. So when a lot of different artists started feeling like they were being sidelined or different things, like, I felt like that was a cause for concern. You know, because I'm like, listen, you signed this person, I think it's a cause for concern if this person is frustrated. Because if we're under one umbrella, if one of us cracks and says, this organization, it affects all of us. Yeah. Right? It affects all of us. And you're seeing this sometimes in the group. Some artists are very vocal. I'm just like, all it just takes is somebody just to screen grab and say, this person was saying this about this label's not. You know what I'm saying? And so it didn't matter whether my contract was great. I was worried about the people that were other people, right? And so in the end, it started making me also kind of, like, pull back me releasing my stuff. Right? So I was like, because I had felt like, and I would be asked, oh, why not, you know, you're here on this label, you're not putting out a project. I said, for me, my music is a seed, and you have to, I need fertile ground. Like, I need the ground to be well and fertile. I said, we signed a deal for this many years. I told you I'd give you this many projects. If I can't, I said, I've been recording, and my projects, I can even legally, I can give you all my projects even on the last day of those years. That's the way it was. And so, but at the end of the day, it just started becoming a bit where I started worrying. But I think there was also a lot of communication breakdown.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I think
Coming from your end.
from
Both ends.
all the ends. I think just generally, there was not a lot of that communication. Usually the problem is like if someone comes and says, no, I was going through this and this and this and this and this. This is why this deal wasn't working. I'm more like, yeah, but you don't leave someone hanging for like this length of time without telling them. You know what I'm saying? You don't, like, everyone has their own personal whatever is going on in their life. So like I said, I don't like to kick people when they're down, but I felt like, the label, had, I think it had a lot on its hands. I think maybe even now they reflect and realize we may have taken a lot of our hands. We wish we'd taken some of the advice, because I wrote a lot of emails. I'd write emails. Like, if for me, I'm an email, but if I'm not happy,
email
www. So I would write an email because I also wanted things tracked, right? So if I'm disappointed with something, I would send an email to the CEO. I would send an email out to Touch, CC the owner. I would say this, I'm disappointed with this and this and this. I would have a meeting, right? And you sit down, you record the meetings, you say, so always going back. And I learned that because I was also chairman of the board for ZMBTalks. So I'd served during that period of time. And so what I didn't want was if being part of Nexus would seem like I'm compromising my job there. So I learned that everything has to be on record. So if we're having a disagreement, a discussion or whatnot, put it on record so that I can go back and say, but on this date in February, you said this. So if I come back in June and you didn't honor what you said in February, I have it on record. It wasn't just I said, no, you wrote it.
Yeah.
We said it. We had an agreement on this. Yeah, so that's...
Why do you think record labels fail in Zambia?
Because this is gonna hurt.
We are so ready to get hit.
Here we go. And I think the problem is if I say what I want to say,
No, say what you want to say.
people will not sign with record labels anymore.
No.
People will say, but Abel said, this is just, I'm gonna say this. And because you know what? I'm gonna pretend as if I'm about to jump on a plane tomorrow and you're never gonna see me again. And now I'm just gonna say everything. Mic drop, boom, I'm out. Here we go. I genuinely, honestly, truthfully think that a lot of record labels, I won't say all, I won't say why, but I think a lot, and people, and I say a lot because people sometimes will attach and say, hey, he was talking about this guy or this label,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying.
A lot.
I think a lot of labels have wishful thinking, right? They'll sell the dream of success to a young artist. And they'll say, do you see that person as that? We can put you on that level. And so the young artist will sign anywhere, will sign on paper. And they say, okay, great, make me a star, right? And the problem is, the stars you're looking at in the industry, in the Zambian music industry, we're still moving, we're still growing, right? So most labels that you find in abroad, you don't even know who's running the label. When I went to Warner in the States, when I went to the guy who's running things is a guy you never hear about, but the artist is famous. So I find like certain times where you are, and they know how to make a return properly, right? So making a return generally, and the return is, if I invest in you, if I'm going to make a return back, I need to also know that your life is good at the same time.
Yeah.
The problem is many times in these record labels is you still have a record label owner, a person who still might be struggling with rent or going through certain financial or still trying to build. You know what I'm saying? It's not that they amassed wealth and then they said that this is an investment and it's going to be a 5-year process. No, it's almost like within 1 year they want to make sure that you make. So, and this is why I'm saying this is because I've had conversations sometimes with different artists or young artists who are just like I'm famous but I don't make any money. My song is hitting but like no one sees me or I don't know what I'm worth. So sometimes I feel like with young artists, first, like social media is free. It's not free, but it's there. You know what I'm saying? You can amass your own following. A lot of the things that sometimes people rely on labels to do for them, I think you can really just do for yourself, right? The push, the what, getting a bank card and boosting every time you post up so more people get a chance to see you, right? Even before you release your music, just have honest conversations. Is this music hitting? Is it good? Is it not? You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you might be saying, oh, tomorrow, don't worry, Maichi, this track is gonna be a hit. But are you sure? What if the track drops on the same day as your maps? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And people love what they're familiar with, right? So for some of us, like to get to a level where we're confident about when we're going to release something, it's taken a while. But then now the music industry is so saturated, it's almost like you have to do more, right? So I feel like a lot of labels are not doing well because there's wishful thinking and they're not at a place yet where they're able to take a loss. And at the end of the day, it comes at the expense of the artist, right? And that's why even like you find sometimes there's fights about either it's money or different things, right? So and the problem is, so now you're dealing with the dream that the young person has and the reality that the label is facing. So that's why I said wishful thinking. So it's either the wishful thinking that you implanted in the artist or wishful thinking that you had that you were going to do with this artist. And then now, 2, 3 years, 5 years, this artist is not where they thought they were going to be. Their family is like, hey, music, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But then the labels, you know what I'm saying, having now financial struggles. And it's not working out. And I think like you shouldn't take a gamble on somebody's life. I generally think most artists, they shouldn't sign to a label. They should just get a manager, an actual manager. It's like, okay, cool. How are you going to take? Okay, good. And this manager should only take 10% off deals they get. And I'm saying this, deals they get. There's managers who are just like, oh, I want you to get 10% off your music streams. My G. I want to get stressed. You know what I'm saying? Okay, cool. If you got all the project and everything going and whatnot, cool. But you have, as a manager, I believe like even 10% is enough because you're trying to prove the artist. Some ask for 20, some 25, some ask for 30. But then what are you going to do? And I see a lot of these young artists, again, get ripped off by managers who are eating so much off it. But this person that manager has a day job. They have what? They can afford to say, oh, sorry, I couldn't call you back. I was in the office. They've got some other thing. But then this young artist is like, I'm throwing my heart and my life into this music. You know what I'm saying? So if you're going to do it passionately. Be ready to take a loss. And this is why I've never really started a label. Because look, I'm still making music. I'm still trying to push something. I feel like the day I'll feel like I can sign somebody is when I'll know that, okay, I'm at a place where I can be able to now I'm always helping people. I'm always pushing through. I'm always trying to, okay, cool. I'm always reposting different things. But to sign somebody, understand that idea of someone feeling like they're being signed, in their head, if Abel has signed me, which means Abel is basically telling me I'll be at his level very soon. And that's dangerous. And when artists never reach at the level that you're reaching at, or wondering how come you're making money and I'm not, it's a hard thing to be at.
Right. And because we're celebrating 10 years of Abel Chungu, I'm going to ask you this. What does the next 10 years look like for you?
I'll be on a farm. I'll grow a beard finally. Nah, I think my heart and my mind is about growing. I think I'm gonna spend more time outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really want to do that because I also want to leave the industry for more other people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I think for one of the things that you kind of hear after a while is, it's just the same people. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's not because it's just the same people. I think it's just that the people that you're looking at work hard, and it's just like they didn't gain the trust of the audience overnight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it takes a while to gain an audience, especially a paying audience. People like, again, there's different things. You show up at one show late, that word is gonna get out. People are gonna be like, this person shows up late. This one is for missing shows. And you've heard some of those rumors sometimes, right? You've heard people's careers
recently,
like great singers, whatnot. But I'll be like, but this person, even after you pay them, they don't show up. You know what I'm saying? Like people, eventually, there's certain things like that.
Right.
That promoters or people who are paying you for a service want to know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Do you deliver? And what we've managed to do with our skill is that we deliver 110% every time that we're doing. But now we want to be able to take it to the rest of the world. And so that other young artists could be like, oh, snap. Now he's abroad. Where is Abel? Is he even in Zambia? So that's a good thing because then it leaves the industry for more space for other people to come in and bring in. And you're starting to see that. A lot of new R&B singers, different young people. Yeah. And it's exciting.
Yeah. Leading me to my next question, which is as we wrap up the show. You asked me a question, I didn't respond. You said, who's your favorite Zambian artist? Did you mean currently or like all seasons?
Okay,
all time?
let's look at all time.
Still Slapty.
Still Slapty.
Still
Why?
For me, it's a consistency and persistence for him. It's like he keeps working as if he's an upcoming artist.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's able to rap in English, Nyanja, Bemba, Tonga. Like a rapper who can do that.
I gotta tell you, I honestly tell you, when for us who saw it, maybe he'll never say it.
Yeah.
But I think when he had that beef with Makitu and it was a hard time for him at some point. I think Jaru could have taken notes from Slap. Because Slap's bounce back was one of the most epic.
Yes.
Yeah. I think Slap's determination to say, nah. I'm not going to allow you guys just to say I've lost or gone out into the sunset. He fought. And I think that the respect that people have, his fan base, is that he showed a sense of leadership and said, no, I'm keeping this.
I'm still king. Yeah.
I'm keeping this alive. And I think it's that would be probably one of the most epic seasons of all time in Zambian music industry.
Right.
As if for us who saw it like up close and we're seeing it happen. Yo, I'm telling you.
Let me throw that same question back at you.
Oh, for me, very easy. Very easy. Who's my GOAT? Exile.
For real?
Yeah.
For real?
Till this day.
Israel.
Every single
favorite
time.
Song
I remind him every time I meet him. I fan out every time I meet him.
Is it?
He tries to act cool. I act like a fan. I'm like, tell me to get you water. I'll get it. Just tell me, what do you want?
I'll be there.
You.
For real.
Till this day.
Favorite.
Like Zambian.
Which song made you like fall in love with him? Or with his music?
Kumbera Nimbe. Yeah. And then Deti. Oof. Oh yeah, let me tell you this. When I got booted out of Star Search Top 60, I sang Deti. I sang it so badly. Yes.
Okay, can you do it now?
I got
perfectly now?
If I can.
Kufaya kwani kutimbe fianove Deti mwekele bano twafika baby Ngalalia ngalale fire numba Deti
Did you hear my backing vocals?
You were! Okay, you're improving. Just from this interview already, I can hear some
Wow.
vocal ability.
Wow.
But yeah.
Your last words to your fans.
My last words to my fans, guys. Thank you so much. I really am grateful for those of you guys who've stuck by me and listened to this music. I always tell people, like, for music has never been about myself. I'm a broken individual, but there's a God who fixes people, and it's always been about that. You know what I'm saying? I was like telling people, like, I shared the story about being at the table, being invited to the table. I didn't throw the party. I just know the guy was throwing the party, and it's a free invite, and there's enough food, and there's enough for everybody, and that's really been the message. So even through the love songs, even through the worship songs, even through just the songs that you guys like to jump and bump to, it has been all about Jesus. And at the end of the day, if anything is left behind, let his name be glorified. And I'll keep making music till God says it's time.
So before I wrap up, I've been seeing lately you've been highlighting issues of mental health. So I just want to know, what space are you at? How's your mental state right now?
Stressed. Nah, I'm good. I'll honestly tell you, I think I'm in a growing, transformative phase. I'll tell you, like, you know, there's that you don't know. I'm gonna say this in the nicest way possible, but you don't know how sometimes your environment could play a very negative role, be in the same place. Like sometimes there's a time where Jesus went to his hometown, and it said that he could do no miracles there. Now this is Jesus, because they were too familiar and they did not believe. They're like, this is Jesus. Wait, this is the one who grew up here, Mary and Joseph's son, right? And so sometimes you live with that idea that maybe there's something wrong with you or something that you're doing. And now what I'm telling everybody, a lot of different artists, a lot of different people, is there's a huge world. There's a huge world out there. And sometimes you just need to take a leap of faith. There is, people might be appreciating your music in China. People might appreciate what your work is in Finland. There's a friend of mine, I think by now he's flying out to the UK. You know what I'm saying? You know, here people, oh no, is what, and then just decided to apply to work at a place in the UK, and he got the job. And this is why I'm saying, like, it's a season for Zambians to begin to believe that they are good enough. You know what I'm saying? And that was the thing. Like, people wouldn't think like I would think like that. But yeah, there's points where you start thinking, am I good enough? You know what I'm saying? Am I still that good? Or am I even better? You know what I'm saying? Or maybe I'm thinking too much. But you have to be able to understand that in my state now is like, yeah, what we're doing, it doesn't matter who doesn't appreciate it. You are good enough, and you should be able to take that step of faith and leap. And I'm sure you have dreams. People are like, oh no, we know it, and they see you in a different space tomorrow, and somebody will be like, but you know what I'm saying? Because I remember there's a lady called Dr. Brene Brown, and she's a psychologist. She said human beings like to create imaginations about other human beings, and there's a place someone who thinks they know you has already placed you. So when you do something out of the ordinary in the mindset that they have of you, they say the brain reacts with a sense of fear because they don't like to, it's like, who moved that thing? I had it there. So sometimes with us, right, even in this industry, somebody has already placed where they place you. EDNA is supposed to be this, or Abel is supposed to sing like this. So when you switch it up sometimes and do something different, they'll react out of fear. And sometimes they'll ridicule you. Sometimes they'll say, like, kind of like in a way trying to say, get back to where you're supposed to be. But then when you change the thing, then you're like, oh, wow. You become a hero because you overcame their own personal fear, which is rejection. When you overcome rejection, people then sometimes begin to respect you because you took a leap of faith. And that's what my mental state is, the understanding now that I'm actually good enough to do anything that I'd like to do and
Nice.
achieve it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for, having this chat with me.
I know, it's been
Appreciate
great.
it.
Now, thank you for your time.
Yeah, I
it's
can't
been
wait to
amazing.
see what 2023 has in store.
It's gonna be a dope year.
It's gonna be a dope year as we receive Kingdom, right?
Yeah. It's gonna be an
No,
epic year.
have you set the release date?
Not yet. Yeah.
Okay.
We want it to be perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We're out here still celebrating Abel Chungu's 10 years in the industry. I hope you enjoyed this interview. Please leave a comment. Feel free, and I'll let him close the show.
Yeah. Guys, God bless you. This has been Edna's show. She's rocking, she's killing it. And if you don't see her doing the show, then riot, break cameras, do everything. Don't allow this girl to go anywhere. Ish. Don't. Unless hire. That's
Tell them to subscribe.
Subscribe. Subscribe. Yeah.